Hello guys, welcome to another episode of AI Spotlight. And today we are live at Knowledge 2025 ServiceNow. This is a yearly event organized by ServiceNow, mostly for their partners and also for ServiceNow users as well. And today we'll be featuring Logik.ai. Here we have a representative of Logik.ai. He'll be telling us what AI features they offer and what kind of business problem can you solve with Logik.ai. My name remains Henry Onowale. Who do we have today?
Hi, I'm Isaac.
Welcome, Isaac. Welcome to our episode of AI Spotlight Show. Yeah, can you tell us about Logik.ai?
Yeah, sure. So Logik is a configure price quote tool, CPQ for short. And we're really embedding AI throughout the entire process to help not only the sales user.
Sorry for intercepting you a little bit. What is CPQ?
Yeah, it stands for configure price quote.
Okay.
So it's the process of helping both sellers and buyers configure the right set of products, price it out appropriately, and then ultimately getting a quote and an order out to the door to the customer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, let us dive into the AI features, offered by Logik.ai. Can you talk about the specific capability and the product itself?
Yeah, at Logik, we really look at AI helping two personas in the CPQ process.
Okay.
First of which is the end user, which is your sellers and your end customers that are accessing the tool.
Okay.
The second piece of it is for the admins administering the rules behind the scenes on what can you sell together, how do you price things out appropriately.
Okay.
So at Logik, we really see AI helping both sides of the house. So for the end users, it's really about having AI help with a conversation around, hey, if I buy product X, what should I buy along with that? These are my requirements, what product should I sell?
Okay.
And Logik has like AI capabilities to automatically enable that. And then for the admin is really about how do we administer these rules and having AI help build these rules for the admin to really speed up their process.
Okay. And in the case of AI helping the admin to build the rules, is the AI now acting, is it an AI agent?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So what it is an AI agent that the admin can have a conversation with.
Okay.
And the admin can essentially define their business logic in plain simple English, and our AI system will then convert that to the rules automatically.
Okay, that really makes sense. And I know there's something you also said that I'm curious if you could elaborate more on it.
Sure.
In the area of the AI helping you to predict what product you should sell, did you mention? Can you elaborate that clearly?
So there's a couple of pieces there in terms of how we help the front end user.
Okay.
So the first of which is what we call our smart predict capabilities.
Okay.
So if you think about a company that's selling a very complex set of products, there's been previous configuration that has been done. What our AI model will do is actually learn upon those and say, hey, these are the successful deals that other customers have done. And with the end user simply answering a few questions, our AI engine can actually predict what the complete solution should be.
But before the AI will be able to give you this kind of suggestion, are you going to train the model with data?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two ways that we actually train our models.
Okay.
The first of which is just on the system itself, is there's been previous configuration that has been done. The AI will continuously learn on that. We also have the capability of importing data from external sources, right? So if you have your previous order data, we can bring that all in via an import and have the AI learn on that set of model as well.
Yeah, and regarding that, are you the guys that will help your customer to help train the model with their own custom data, or do the users, the organization, do they have the people access to this model to be able to train the model with their own custom data? Do you want to tell us how that works?
Yeah, that's a great question. So within our admin layer, there's actually a training model capability there where the admin can define exactly how they want to train the model. So they can say, hey, I loaded all these data in. This is actually what I want to optimize, right? I want to optimize on my close one deals. I want to optimize things that have XYZ. The admin will be able to define exactly what the inputs from the end users are and then what the end results they want to train for. And then our model will then learn upon that.
Wow, that is really innovative. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, now my follow-up question would be, we have various LLM models, foundation models. Now, does the user have the ability to choose any LLM model of their choice, the open source model. Tell us about
Yeah, absolutely. So at Logic, we actually use Gemini, Google Gemini's LLM, along with OpenAI for our own LLM models.
Okay.
But it is a fully agentic flow, so meaning you can front end our agent with any other agent.
Can you deploy like an external model into the platform?
Not yet, but that's something we are looking into.
Okay.
But essentially, with, for example, ServiceNow's, control tower agent, etc.
I saw that yesterday.
Right. So they'll be able to, that agent will essentially have access to our agent. So then when you do something on that agent in the front, then it can call our agent to then build the flow appropriately, configure the products, etc.
Wow, this is really amazing. And I would like to ask you, how easy is it to use this platform for what do you call it again? For CPQ.
That's right.
Now, for organization, I mean, in terms of the administrators and using the platform itself,
right.
In order to help suit their kind of business style. How easy it is to learn. Yeah.
So our philosophy from an administration standpoint is always to make it really easy for the business users. So there's point and click models, how you can define the rules.
Okay.
And then what's really important for the end users is actually performance, right? So when you go on the website and you're putting together, for example, a computer, you don't want to wait for a spinning wheel or anything like that. So that's something that we're very proud of, is the performance of our product. Everything is measured in milliseconds. So we're really performant to not enable only the sellers, but also e-commerce users and things of that nature.
Wow, that is amazing. Then, do you guys have any kind of learning resources to kind of help members of the public to become more proficient, like as more organizations adopt Logik.ai for their CPQ need? Like, what are you guys doing in order to support that kind of learning community?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few things that we're doing. First of which is Logic is an API first platform, meaning where we have open APIs. So all our API documentations are actually public to resources out there in the web. We also have a learning module that customers or any prospect can sign up for to learn about the platform. How do you build a rule? How do you expose this to the website and things of that nature?
Okay, that is really amazing. Now let us delve into the training of the module itself.
Sure.
Now, when it comes to training of the module, there are a few steps that must be observed. I know the module that is available on your platform is kind of, when I said exclusive, you said OpenAI and which other? Gemini.
Gemini, that's right.
Okay. Now, is there like a feature that can help organization to determine like a model selection between Gemini and OpenAI? Which one would best suit their business need?
Good question. We actually combine those together because we see kind of good capabilities from both of those platforms. And that's how our models are actually trained. So we leverage OpenAI for the conversational aspects of it, and then we leverage Gemini for the predictions aspect of AI. So we actually take care of that for all of our customers. And in the future, we do want to allow customers to bring their own models in, etc. So there's going to be a lot of flexibility.
Nice. Now let us talk about one important feature when it comes to leveraging AI for business. One thing is the issue of security.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about the trust of the platform. How trusted is your platform when it comes to leveraging this AI capability of Logik.ai?
Absolutely. So AI is always an opt-in for us, right? So a customer will have to opt into AI and choose to leverage the capabilities. The other piece of it that we think is very important is you can't let AI go off by itself and do its own thing, because there's prone to hallucination and things of that nature. So what we really think a lot about is how do we combine AI capabilities and rules you built into the system so that they don't conflict with each other, right? So what you want to always do is you always define your rules. So for example, if product A can't be sold with product B, you define that as a rule. And then when the AI makes a prediction, it actually knows about that rule, so you'll never make an error in those judgments. So it's really important for organizations to start thinking about, hey, what are the hard kind of boundary conditions in this entire process? And then what do we want our AI to be able to predict on? And our admin layer actually allows you to make some of those choices.
Okay, great. I think one thing I'm trying to get from this question is, how safe is the platform? And the further question would be, I know you are aware of responsible AI principles. Now, if organizations are bringing in their data, right? And let us assume some of these data are PHI data. They have some sensitive information.
All right.
Now, does the platform have some level of capability to help encrypt these PHI data? That is one.
Yeah.
Then the second aspect, in terms of ensuring data quality and also ensuring that the model is not being manipulated and the model is actually performing as expected.
Right.
Then what are the benchmark or yardstick? Is there a dashboard where you can see all of this performance?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a couple of pieces to that is, in terms of the data, it is secured on our platform. We run GCP behind the scene, and we have some security models built around kind of what data the model is actually trained on, and every one of our customers is actually in their own instance, so it never cross-pollinate, right? We're using that specific customer's data for their own training basis. In terms of how do we make sure that the model isn't corrupted, there's a few things. So within our admin model training tool, you can actually see different models that the AI has built, and you can choose which one goes live to the end user. You can also see the predictability score on how well these models are performing. So as an admin, you can actually pick and choose what what model you turn on for the end user at any particular point. So that's a good way of always making sure that our customers are able to test it before they finally roll it out to their end users.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, if a customer decides that they want to improve the performance of the model, then how does that work? Because from someone who comes from an AI space, I know there is some form of what they call it, model optimization, right? Fine tuning, and which has to do with you have your training data and your test data. Now, from that perspective, how would customer be able to improve the performance of the model, or is it something that you guys do from the back end?
It is something we do from the back end, but I think our general philosophy of it is, the AI is only going to perform as good as how good your data is, right? So it's all about feeding in the right set of information and the right kind of how far do you want to go back, right? So maybe, I don't want my quotes and orders to look like what they did 2 years ago. What you have the ability to do with our platform is actually train it on the right set of data so that you're not looking at previous data from 2 years ago when the company might have been doing something completely different, had a different strategy. You don't want to make predictions based on those kind of previous examples. So it's all about giving admins the agility to quickly build models and then deploying it out to the end users.
Yeah, that really makes sense. Now, let's talk about some customer success stories. Now, can you tell us about some of the business outcome, how your current customers prefer Logik.ai CPQ compared to the traditional Oracle CPQ and the Salesforce CPQ?
Yeah. So I mentioned a few of these things, but performance is really, really key for our customers. Those traditional CPQ usually have performance issues, and that brings up a big challenge not only for your internal sellers, but when you're trying to roll out a self-service model and expose to the end customer, it becomes really, really problematic, right? So that's a key advantage that we have. The other piece of it is, I've been in the CPQ space for about 10 years.
What of cost saving?
Right, so I think a big piece of it is going omni-channel and going across the board, having one set of rules across the board, right? That really brings into the kind of cost-saving piece of it, right? Because you don't have to maintain multiple sources of truth for the rules. It's something that our customers have found a lot of success in.
Then what of in terms of, in terms of help, in terms of acceleration, how does that help customers?
Yeah, absolutely. The admin tool I mentioned is a really big piece for the customers. We allow a lot more flexibilities in terms of what you can do on the platform, and then the type of rules that you can build, right? So allowing the building of those simple rules, and then also, once again, leveraging AI to quickly build those rules so that when a customer has, say, for example, a new product that they're introducing to the market, they can turn that around much faster and get that out to both their Salesforce as well as kind of their customers directly, really, really quickly.
That really makes sense. I think my next question will be in terms of scalability. Let us assume a customer the current customer who is using the platform, their business kind of expand to different parts of the world.
Sure.
Then what is the capability of Logik.ai platform to accommodate business expansion in terms of scalability?
Yeah, absolutely. So Logik is multi.
And I'm talking about, let us say, high volume data.
That's what I thought you were going with.
Okay.
So Logik can actually support a high number of line items. That's kind of one of our kind of key advantages. So for example, we're actually scaled up to 10,000 line items.
Okay.
It's very important for a lot of our customers, but specifically for our manufacturing customers that not only need kind of the sales line item that they present to the customer, but they actually need to generate the full manufacturing bill of material in terms of all the nuts and bolts that actually goes into producing their product. Logik can actually has an engine to generate all of that, send it downstream so that we can fulfill the orders appropriately, build it from the back end perspective. And we're scaled up to 10,000 line items, like I said, and there's not really another CPQ tool out there that can do that.
Okay, that really makes sense. And this comes to our final questions. And the question are twofold. Now, is there any current limitation that the platform has right now? That probably customers are struggling with, or some kind of new request from the customer. One thing is when you launch a new product, people get excited about the product.
Sure.
And when they dive into the product, now they begin to probably can use this product to explore some possible business use case.
Sure.
Have you guys gotten such requests?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Logik, we started off as just a configuration platform.
Okay.
That's kind of where we grew up, where it's kind of, hey, how do we put together the right solution for our customer? Since we've done that, our customers actually came back and say, hey, there's actually other pieces of the CPQ process that we want you to look at. So we've actually expanded into pricing and quoting capabilities, and now we're a kind of a full suite CPQ solution.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're taking it. In addition to that, we're seeing a lot of businesses move to a more subscription type model.
Okay.
So we're starting to support subscription models as well within our platform.
Okay.
And that's kind of a growing area that we see a lot of customers being able to leverage.
That really makes sense. Now, for the benefit of our audience,
Sure.
What are the three takeaways you have for them, regarding the innovation that is taking place in the AI space, and also in regard to the CPQ?
Yeah, I think CPQ is actually at a very interesting injection point. I think when a customer is evaluating CPQ, I would kind of say they should look for a couple of things. So the first of which is it should be built native API first, because you need to integrate this across the board with multiple systems.
Okay.
So if a system doesn't have native APIs, it's really going to struggle in terms of that. It needs to have AI capabilities, right? So being able to have a conversation with a tool, having it built out the products and configuration appropriately is really key. And then finally, it needs to be performant, right? Like I mentioned, being able to have that millisecond time response and being able to handle those large line items that you mentioned.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for joining us on this episode of AI Spotlight Show. Wow, that is a great conversation. And this is one of the interesting things about AI. Now we can see how Logik.ai have been able to infuse AI into CPQ, which is configure, price, and quotation. And this will help organizations to be able to perform a seamless CPQ process for their businesses, and not just using that AI tool to achieve performance, but at the same time to be able to experience more acceleration with their business process. Thank you so much for joining this episode of our AI Spotlight Show, and stay tuned for our next interview. And my name still remains Henry Onowale, the host of AI Spotlight Show. Take care.